Welcome to Firearms of America. Today I am out here at Shooters in Fort Myers, Florida, about to do another comparison review, and comparison is going to be between two Caniks. Now, if you're not familiar with Canik Turkish brand, excellent brand. In the past year, I would say maybe year and a half, they have been bringing some really awesome handguns, and the quality, the features that are packed in very affordable price, really, for the most part, is just very impressive. So today I have two, actually it was a request. Today I have Canik, one of my favorite Caniks, I have to say. This is the TP9 SFX, one of the first Caniks that I reviewed. Absolutely love this specific gun. 5.2-inch barrel. It comes with two 20 capacity magazines. Yes, 18 capacity magazine with an extension for extra 2 rounds. Check this out. Very nice handgun. And I also have today another awesome newer model, SFX Rival. Yes, and this is their standard color. They also have black, all black, in case if you don't like this gold accents and all that sort of stuff. Very nice gun, excellent. I did the review recently if you want to watch the separate review. 5-inch barrel, just a little bit shorter than the TP9 SFX. Comes with two 18 capacity magazines, so no extension on these. Also packaged, I mean, in the package that you're getting a whole bunch of stuff. We will talk about everything later because I actually have cases for both. And usually I don't really talk about what you get when you buy a brand new handgun, which I mean I probably should, but most of the times you're not getting anything, maybe an extra magazine. Here you're actually getting a whole bunch of stuff, so we will mention that. But before we get into comparison, talking about the features, let's do some shooting. So I'm gonna put some 5 rounds into the Rival, and I'm gonna put 5 rounds into the regular TP9 SFX. And today I'm gonna use my favorite kind of ammo from MacTac. Yes, all the way from Brazil. And the reason why it's my favorite is because it's the cheapest one, okay? Cheapest one and without any problems so far. Okay, so let's start loading up some magazines. Okay, so Canik, like I said, Turkish brand. Now, a lot of mixed feelings, because we are used to German, Austrian, right, American made, and all of a sudden we have Turkish, and you're like, do we want to get into that? But trust me, guys, whenever it comes to quality, whenever it comes to overall reliability, I mean, I did have problems with a few Caniks that I've shot, of course. But I also did have problems with a few Glocks that are shot, and a few 6 hours that are shot, and a few Rugers that are shot. So at the end of the day, it really comes down to a lot of factors. But speaking of the magazines, I have to say it's a little bit easier to load the 20 round magazine, probably because they kept the same spring, so it's a little bit softer. Not necessarily a good thing, but just a little bit, that's a comparison for you. So, by the way, one thing that I wanted to mention, both are interchangeable. As you can see, you can easily put the 20 rounder into the Rival and the 18 rounder into the regular TP9 SFX. Okay, as you can see, the targets are nicely, freshly painted by Mr. Cody. So we're gonna start with, why not start with the middle? The yellow circle in the very middle. Now, both of these handguns, in my experience at least so far, are very accurate. So if I do a bad job, it's completely 100% on me. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, not the most fantastic job. Let's get into the orange on the top for the Rival. And not a single miss with the Rival. And actually 3 misses with the TP9 SFX. But that's not the indication, it's me. I have a little bit of a messed up arm from my climbing gym. got a good excuse for you guys. So let's start with the very beginning with the grip. Now, both handguns, as you can see, they have very similar grip, but there is still a difference. Now, for the most part, it feels like the size-wise, Rival has a little bit less of the real estate on the grip compared to the TP9S. Now, it might be just in my imagination, but I feel like this is just a little bit thinner. It might be exactly the same frame. Take a look at that. I think Rival might be just a tiny little bit smaller overall frame compared to TP9 SFX, and smaller frame fits a little bit better in my hands. Now, whenever it comes to the aggression, as you can see at the back, we have very similar plates on both of these. In fact, they do come with some extra plates in case if you want to increase the volume of your grip. Now, on the side, you have very nice aggressive stippling. On the front, on the Rival, you have exactly the same stippling as on the sides. However, in the TP9 SFX, you have a similar pattern as on the back over here. Now, both of the handguns, we can start talking about the extra stuff that they come with. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. In fact, let me mention everything that it comes with before I move on talking about the feature of the handguns, because I probably will forget. So, this is the case for the Rival. As you can see, you have two different adjustments basically for the grip if you want to make it wider. You have the cleaning tools. You have a little cool little pistol looking thing, which is actually a Allen key, screwdriver, whatever you want to call it. No, you can't shoot it unfortunately, but still pretty cool. You have all the manuals, all that stuff. And then once we move on to this side, we have a whole bunch of stuff here as well. We have an extra magazine, we have the speed loader, we have two different mag plates, we have 4 different MOS attachments. In case if you're planning to install the red dot, 4 different red dot patterns. There's one for RMR, there's one for, whatever. For me, it's just RMR, but whatever. There's 3 other ones. You have holster, yes. With a brand new handgun, you are getting a holster. And you have also very nice golden here magwell, which is pretty cool. And of course, the lock, because by the law of the flesh, all right, let's just say that, you have to have a lock. Yeah. Because we all lock our guns, right? Okay, this is the case for the TP9 SFX. Let me open that and show off everything you're getting here. As you can see, here you're getting 1 of those adjustments, not 2, for the grip. Also 4 MOS plates, cleaning tools, all the manuals. You also have a holster here. Here actually the holster is a little bit of a different one. Both of them are usable, both of them are nice. Kydex holsters, pretty good. As you can see here, you have an extra magazine with the speed loader, a bunch of little tools for your MOS, and of course, the very necessary lock. Okay, so you get a lot of stuff with a Canik. Very impressive, but let's move on further on the pistol itself. Okay, so we have our mag release, very nice, very defined. I mean, you can't miss this button, as you can see. It sticks out like very nicely. Also, it's not ambidextrous as it is, but you can reverse it, so it is technically ambidextrous. Whatever. Don't listen to me, I'm an immigrant. Nothing I say really makes sense. Now the trigger guard you have at the front, you have some serrations for in case if you're, this is your grip. Also, as you can see, you have some stippling going here and there for extra, for kind of like a gas pedal pressure point, and exactly the same thing, the same situation we have here as well. Same type of mag release, very nice, very defined, also reversible, and as you can see here you have the same gas pedal type of stippling. Now both of the handguns have your standard accessory rail, 1913 Picatinny, but let's talk about a little bit of the differences now. Slide and the barrel, like I mentioned in the beginning, it does have a little bit of longer slide and longer barrel, the TP9 SFX, compared to the Rival. Rival is only 5 inches, TP9 SFX is 5.2 inches. So naturally, TP9 SFX is a little bit longer than the Rival, also a little bit heavier, but not because of the extra length, not only because of the extra length, but also because, as you can see, there are some extra cutouts in the Rival here. Now, it will be of course up to you, and hopefully after watching this comparison, you will be able to make a decision for yourself and say, that's definitely what I want. But the decision will be up to you, because do you want a lighter handgun that is a little bit easier, faster to draw, but might have a little bit more recoil, because now you have a little bit of a less weight in the handgun to absorb that energy from the recoil? Because if you probably know it yourself, you know, the heavier your firearm is, well, it also depends on the caliber obviously, but the more mass to the firearm there is, the more it absorbs the recoil, all right, the energy from the recoil. Okay, so let's move on further in the differences. Slide release, well, slide stop, whatever, however you want to call it. As you can see here in the TP9 SFX, it's very nice, very extended. I mean, my fingers are super short, but I still easily can reach it. And there's a very nice notch over here that is very easy to catch. One hand operation. Now, in Rival, we have more of that newer tactical extended slide stop, slide release, the same one that they have in their combat version or elite combat version. They have the Canik TP9 Combat, I think that's what it's called, and it has the same exact slide release. I'm not sure if it's the same size, but it's the same exact design. Very easy to catch as well. Not as much of a kind of a grippy area, a notch for, but you can still do one-hand operation without any problems. Okay, so let's do some 3 rounds here, 3 rounds there for faster, and this time I'll actually try to shoot the flappy pedals, because they always give me problems. So with these 2 handguns, and so far I've been more accurate with the Rival, which honestly, no, not justified. Let's I think I was just warming up on the first round. Let's do some shooting of the flappy pedals. Let's start with the Rival. This time, very easy to rack, very easy to acquire the target. And somewhat hard to miss with the Rival. Very accurate. Very easy to rack, super smooth slide, very easy to acquire the target. And now I think it's a little bit better justice done to the both handguns. 3 out of 3 on both. So, speaking of acquiring the target, let's talk about the sights, because I'm pretty sure the front sights are exactly the same. Yep, they're exactly the same. As you can see, we have for the front, we have your fiber optic, little red dot over there, if you like it. Some people like fiber optics, some people don't. It's up to you to decide. I'll leave it up to you. But there is actually a difference in the rear sights. Now, in your TP9 SFX, I wanted to say standard, but it's not really standard. It's kind of 2 models, different models. TP9 SFX, you don't have the adjustable sights, rear sights. As you can see, on the Rival, you do have adjustable rear sights, which, I mean, is a huge plus in case if you want to adjust it. I don't know. Well, you have that option here, but very similar overall, because you have kind of a 3-post standard, but of course, there's a little bit of a tiny difference in both, because the TP9 SFX actually has just a little bit of a thinner rear, as you can see. So to me, I honestly prefer the TP9 SFX just a little bit better, just a little bit more. Not that huge of a difference, but something to keep in mind. Now, both of them, as you can see, have the MOS cutouts. If you want to put your favorite red dot on them, you can definitely do that. Now, of course, serrations on the back, serrations at the front. On the Rival, same thing at the back, on the front. Although I have to say, it is a little bit easier to rack TP9 SFX, a little bit harder to rack the Rival, but the aggression on Rival appears to be just a tiny little bit more aggressive, especially with these cutouts. It just makes it a little bit grippier. Now you're probably wondering, okay, so what are the safety features on both of the handguns? Well, none of these handguns, they have the manual safety, and you probably already noticed that, but both of them do have a rack gun indicator. Check this out in the back, as you can see this red thing. So right now there's nothing in the chamber, but it's racked, so you still have the indicator showing that it is racked. And as you can see, once you fire it, well, not fire it, but release the trigger, this thing disappears. All right, now moving further, let's talk about one very important difference in both is the trigger. As you can see, the trigger in the Rival is flat trigger. It's a little bit higher quality, a little bit crispier trigger, and I'm gonna demonstrate you exactly what I'm talking about. You have that pre-trigger, kind of like a safe action system, like it is in a Glock, basically protection from drop, just in case if you drop it, it's not gonna fire. But nice flat trigger. As you can see, you have very short travel for the first stage, just like 2.5 millimeters, barely anything. And then you have very defined. Both of the triggers are very easy to learn. Look, 1, 2, like you can't miss it. 1, 2, you can't accidentally press it. 1, 2, and then a crisp break. And I'll also demonstrate the reset. As you can see, very short reset. Now, let's move on to the trigger on the TP9 SFX. Here, as you can see, it's not as fancy of a metal trigger as it is on the Rival. It's not flat, it's rounded, very similar to Glock trigger. The safe action, same thing here, but compared to the Glock trigger, this I think is actually better than Glock trigger, because you see the first stage is a little bit longer on the Rival, but still very defined, very easy to get used to. And then the second stage is just that, very short, very easy, you can't confuse it. And then a crisp break and the reset, super short reset as well. I mean, both of the triggers are just absolutely fantastic. I love both of the triggers. I can't really say, I did mention that the quality is a little bit better on the Rival. It's a little bit more competition friendly trigger on the Rival, but don't get me wrong, the trigger on TP9 SFX, I mean, unless you don't like the rounded and you just prefer a flat one, then you're gonna like Rival more. But this rounded trigger on TP9 SFX is just as fantastic. So let's finish up this comparison by doing 3 rounds on both, and I'll attempt to do a decent job again on the flappy pedals. And I have to say, guys, if you haven't watched any of my previous reviews, and most of the times I try to shoot the flappy pedals, they're not easy to hit, okay? I'm not that good of a shot, let's just say that. Maybe they're easy for somebody, but they're not easy for me. So being able to hit 3 out of 3 with both of these guns really says a lot about guns, in my opinion. Now, magazines, let's come back to the magazines. I don't think I mentioned that. Both of the magazines are nicely numbered all the way to 18, although this one has 20 because of the extension. Both of the magazines are nicely tapered at the top. Well, they're exactly the same magazine, so easy, very easy to get it in, even without the magwell, but you do also have the magwell in case if you want it for your competition. And that's probably one of the reasons why you would want to buy either one of these. They're gonna be great. I mean, if you want to get into the competition shooting and you don't want to spend a coin, all right, right out of the pocket, and you just want to try it out, and you want a decent competition gun that will get you in, these are just fantastic options for the price, because you get everything you need unless you want to add the red dot, which you can also get a Canik that comes with a Vortex red dot. It's a good entry-level red dot. It does the job. Okay, so let's see if I can do a decent job this time. Let's start with the Rival. Okay, TP9 SFX. And 3 out of 3. So, in the conclusion, let's try to make it reasonable, although there's rarely anything reasonable on this channel. In the conclusion, both of the handguns are absolutely fantastic. At the end of the day, I think what it comes down to, if you want to go with Canik, you're not gonna be disappointed. These are fantastic guns. They're reliable, they're accurate, they're packed with features, and for the price, I mean, really hard, really hard to beat. Both of them. At the end of the day, choosing between a Rival and the regular, well, I can't say regular, the TP9 SFX, I would say, do you want a little bit of a longer, a little bit of a heavier handgun, a little bit of a wider grip, although really hard to say whenever it comes to the grip because you can change the width of the grip. Do you want extra 2 rounds in your magazines, 20 round magazines? TP9 SFX already comes with them. Do you like this slide stop, slide release? Do you like this trigger a little bit more? Or do you prefer maybe a flat trigger, all right? Or do you prefer adjustable rear sights? Or do you prefer 18 round magazines instead of the 20 round magazines? Or you want a little bit more ports on the slide? Or do you want golden accents on your handgun? Because that's very important. So, thank you very much guys for watching. I really appreciate your time. Hopefully this comparison was able to help you decide between the two. If you're not subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing because this channel is still growing. I try to consistently bring new reviews. In fact, my next review is laying down right here. It's going to be this, I mean, I cannot wait to shoot this thing. Chambered 45 ACP Les Bear 1911. If you are not familiar with Les Bear, well, let's just say that. If you're a fan of 1911s, you know Les Bear, all right? Because that's like top of the line, along with brands like Wilson Combat, and nothing comes to mind. Thank you very much guys for watching. I appreciate your time. This was Firearms of America. I'll see you guys in the next video.